पॉलिसी बाजार पर 1 करोड़ रुपए का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस केवल 450 रुपए महीने से शुरू। वाह!
Let's get you our top story with breaking news coming in at the moment. News coming in from Jammu and Kashmir with a gun battle in Jammu. This is breaking news coming in at this hour. We have my colleague Nazir joining us. Nazir, what details do you have for us?
Well, early this morning, there was a major gun battle between militants and the security forces in Sidra area, which is actually outskirts of Jammu. And it is a posh neighborhood. And according to sources near the Sidra bridge, a major gun battle broke out. Police said 2 to 3 militants are involved according to Mukesh Singh, who is Additional Director General of Police. He is saying 2 to 3 terrorists will be involved in this operation. There was a massive gunfire was heard, but for a while it has stopped. It could be anything, whether the militants have been killed or they are hiding here. That is unclear because but what we hear locally, after a huge volume of fire, the firing stopped for a while back, and now, but the operation is on. It is very unclear what exactly is happening. Early in the morning, looks like it was a group which was intercepted by the security forces. It happened just a day after police defused a major IED. It was in Udhampur near Jammu. There were RDX in the IED. A major, attack and the tragedy that was averted by police. So clearly shows that Jammu is on the terror radar. There have been multiple incidents this year, and this attack, encounter in Jammu city, in Jammu area, is a huge problem for the security agencies, because we have seen there is a consistent effort to push in militants from the international border in Jammu, and also push in arms and ammunition through drones. And now we see this major gun battle in Sidra area in Jammu city. Heavy gunfire was heard this morning, and the operation is still underway. We're waiting for the statement from the police what exactly happened, but police have so far confirmed that 2 to 3 militants are involved in this encounter.
Now, as Team India's home season begins, Hardik Pandya has been handed the T20 captaincy, Rohit Sharma to lead the ODI team in the year of the World Cup, and several big changes for Team India, and that will be meeting Sri Lanka from the 3rd of January. To get more information about these massive changes in Team India, let's get my colleague Rika Roy on the phone line with us. Rika, looks like a big shake-up, but why?
That's right, Divya. There has been a big shake-up in Team India, perhaps because India's white ball fortunes have fluctuated over the last 1 year. They have put up a dismal performance in the T20 World Cup, followed by loss in ODIs against Bangladesh. So changes were expected, but to what extent we didn't know till the team was put out last evening. India's home season begins, and with that we see that captains have been split between ODI and white ball. Hardik Pandya to lead India in the ODIs, and Rohit Sharma will come back after an injury break in the ODI. Hardik Pandya will lead in the T20, by the way. There are also changes in the T20.
Rika, very surprising that the white ball captaincy has been split up. Have few of the careers in white ball cricket ended, particularly Shikhar Dhawan?
I'll answer your first question first. The split captaincy, yes, when Virat Kohli gave up his ODI captaincy, his T20 captaincy, he was also told to give up his ODI captaincy because the selectors felt that it was untenable to have 2 captains in 2 formats. But right now there seems to be a different understanding of how the Indian team should go forward. So 2 captains for 2 formats, and it's a very clear indication that perhaps Hardik Pandya is going to lead India in the white ball format in the future. For now, because it's the World Cup year, they do not want to remove Rohit Sharma. So far as Shikhar Dhawan is concerned, it's little surprising given that he was being trialled for ODI captaincy in the last few series, and now he has been dropped. It seems because of his strike rate issues, he's been dropped. But we can't say for sure in Indian cricket that careers have ended, though it's being speculated. There's a long season of IPL ahead, He's going to be leading Punjab during the IPL. And if he performs well, if he has a good strike rate, if he has got a good captaincy record, then I don't think anyone can stop him from returning to the ODI side either.
Right, Shikhar Dhawan being dropped from both teams. Rika there reporting on the massive changes in Team India ahead of the T20s. Well, let's just get you other news coming in at this moment. And the COVID panel chief, N.K. Arora, has spoken exclusively to NDTV. And this is regarding the intranasal COVID vaccine program that is being introduced in the vaccination program as a booster dose for adults. The inclusion comes amid a surge in cases in China and some other countries as well. The True Drop India-made nasal vaccine will be introduced on the COVID app, and the manufacturers of the vaccine have said that it will be available at private centres for now. And those who have taken Covishield and Covaxin can take this nasal vaccine as a booster shot. But those people who've already got a booster dose cannot have this in India's nasal vaccine. That cannot be administered to those who have already taken a booster dose, is what the head of the country's vaccine task force, Dr. N.K. Arora, had to say to NDTV. Let's just listen in to that exclusive interview.
Thanks very much, Dr. Arora, for being with us. The bottom line over here, is India likely to face the threat in terms of numbers which we are seeing in China now?
Thank you, Vishnu, for inviting me. Your first question is very important, and the response we are seeing in this country, which is a very preemptive and a proactive response, is primarily because there is huge opacity of what is happening in China. Opacity in terms of the cases which are occurring, the severity of cases, their vaccination status, and then the kind of variants, Omicron variants or the other variants which are circulating there. So this has led to the country and the whole COVID working group going in for a whole process of activating, so that at the last moment, or there should not be a moment where we scramble for our preparedness. And so all this activity which we are going in. Having said that, I would say there is no need to panic, because on one side is the preparation, but the most important thing is our genomic surveillance. Our surveillance is at the top of the whole activity.
Who should be getting this vaccine, sir?
Anybody above the age of 18 years can get this vaccine. It's very simple. 4 drops in each nostril, total of 0.5 ml is to be administered, and that's it. And it has very little adverse events except some nasal blockage you may get for a short while. Otherwise, whatever the data is, it's extremely safe vaccine.
And so it has to be administered by a nurse or a trained person, right? It's not something you take home.
No, it is to be given at, see, one has to be always worried. The question is that with this vaccine, like any other vaccine, we need to wait for 15 to 30 minutes as we were doing it with other vaccines, so that in case there is a reaction, it can be taken care of immediately. Although there were no reports in whatever data we have seen, but one is always, as a precautionary measure, should be given. But the important point is, it's just like oral polio, which you are aware. So as our experience and confidence builds, this will be something which will be very easily administered anywhere in the community, at home and other places, just like polio. There is a very recent data which shows that in children below 12 years, where vaccine is not given, 95-96% of children are positive for COVID exposure. Second, that 92 to 97% of our children, individuals between 12 to rest of the age, have got at least 2 primary doses. So this gives us a very nice hybrid immunity. And many of us have also suffered, I'm sure, many of you within your close contacts also, more than one infection also. Yes. Positive infection. So
no, and Dr. Arora, I must tell you right now, this must be at least the 20th interview that we've done over the last couple of years. And I disagreed with you on herd immunity or natural immunity, but it appears that the lack of this in China, according to scientists, is a major contributory factor towards the illness spreading in that country. In other words, herd immunity or natural immunity is a big factor when it works alongside vaccines. I think this is a big learning tool for a lot of us, and indeed for scientists. I'm just a journalist. A lot of scientists around the world as well.
So I would refrain from the word herd immunity. No, herd immunity is a very complicated issue. I think we should refrain from. It is hybrid immunity. That natural infection, and on top of that, which has been supplemented with vaccination.
Welcome back. Let's get you a check on the weather situation in the northern part of the country. Severe cold wave conditions that have been prevailing in Delhi, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are likely to, they're expected to improve today because cold wave conditions are expected in parts of Rajasthan where the minimum temperature has dropped to 0.5 degrees Celsius in Churu, which is 3 degrees off the mark, and colder wave that is prevailing in Rajasthan, that will continue, but cold day conditions will be prevailing in the western part of Uttar Pradesh. As far as the fog conditions are concerned in Delhi, Haryana, Chandigarh, Punjab, as well as parts of the northeast, which includes Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura, as well as Assam and Meghalaya, that will continue over the next 2 to 3 days. To get a situation on the ground, we have my colleague Priyanshi joining us. Priyanshi, get us a sense of how cold it is here in the national capital. Is it colder than yesterday or does it feel any better?
Well, Divya, it is 5.6 degrees. Yesterday it was 5.3 degrees in the national capital. Now the minimum temperature is 5.6 degrees. So just slightly better than that. And the Met Department also predicts some relief over today and tomorrow. They predict the minimum temperature today to go to 7 degrees from 5 degrees yesterday. And on 29th, they predict the minimum temperature to go on to 8 degrees Celsius. So some relief that the Met Department is expecting, but a degree or two will not feel like much of a change for Delhi. Because even 5 or 6 degrees or 7 degrees is extremely cold, is a cold wave condition for the national capital. But the Met Department says that after 30th, the temperatures will start falling again and they'll again go to 5 degrees close to the new year. Now, today, the weather condition is, as I said, the minimum temperature is 5.6 degrees Celsius. And the Met Department, for the whole of North India, they say that the cold wave conditions are likely to persist for the next 24 hours at least. And the dense fog conditions are also likely to stay for the next 3 to 4 days. So it is, if I talk about the feeling the cold, I'm myself wearing 3 layers right now, but even then you can practically see people shivering even if they're wearing a lot of layers. So that just gives you a sense of how cold it is in the national capital, but it is not very abnormal during this time of the year. This minimum temperature is just 1 degree below normal. The maximum temperature was also below normal. It was 17 degrees Celsius. So it is slightly below the normal that's recorded during this time of the year, but it's not very different from what we see during the other years. But of course, relief expected for 2 days and then it'll likely to go down again.
Right, Priyanshi there reporting from the national capital, talking about how cold it's going to get. In fact, those fog conditions that she's talking about will only get more dense in the days ahead, is what the Met Office is saying. So from now till about New Year's, flights could get disrupted on account of the fog situation here in the national capital as well as adjoining areas. Thank you so much, Priyanshi, for joining us. But sad news for visitors at the tourist resorts of Srinagar, Manali, Shimla as well as Dalhousie. The much-awaited snowfall of the season and that delight for many may roll over only in the next year is what predictions are saying. So temperatures dipped to below zero and a cricket league in the midst of snow in Kashmir. Here is my colleague Nasir Masoodi reporting. Let's take a look.
As the mercury plunges across the valley to several degrees below zero, Marhama village comes alive with its own cricket Premier League, with 64 teams from neighbouring villages. Bringing this warmth in the freezing cold are 4 friends from the village. Amir, who runs a small cricket equipment shop, contributed 2 lakh rupees from his earnings, as did his 3 other friends.
इसमें हमें रोलर जो हमने वो खुद के पैसों से हमने लाया, उसमें करीबन 7 लाख से ऊपर खर्चा हो गया हमारा। और जो ये टर्फ विकेट है, ये भी हमने इसमें खुद हमने मेहनत की, अपने हाथों से बनाया।
Khurshid Ahmed, an apple grower, has also contributed 2 lakhs despite a slump in business this year.
हमने सोचा कि यहाँ पर जो बच्चे हैं इनको फिजिकली और मेंटली हम ठीक फिट रखेंगे और हम खुद भी फिट रहेंगे इससे।
The tournament is an attempt to engage youngsters in sports in a place that used to be a hotbed of militancy and also to fight the drug menace. For the young cricketers, a turf wicket in the village ground is a dream come true.
Actually, it means a life to me because it gives really something. I feel happy When I play cricket.
Love of cricket has brought warmth in Kashmir's deep winter freeze. This is how a few friends, cricket lovers, can make a difference, giving hope to hundreds of budding cricketers in the area. In Malhama, South Kashmir, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
All right, so let's get started. Up first, news from Jammu, where security forces are engaged in a fierce gunfight with terrorists in Sidra. That fight broke out this morning, a day after a terror attack was averted in Udhampur.
Right, Gargi, that averted, that terror attack that was averted just yesterday when 15 kgs of explosives were found. The gunfight erupted around 7:30 this morning and involves 2 to 3 terrorists. To get more on this, we have our colleague Nazir joining us. Nazir, what details do you have for us?
Well, this encounter started early in the morning today, and the reports suggest that all the 3 militants may have been killed, but we are waiting for confirmation from the police. But reports suggest, because there was firing has stopped, there was a huge volume of firing, and then it stopped, and now it appears they may have been killed. It happened, encounter took place at very, very crucial place. It is Sidra area, Sidra Bridge near, which is part of the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway also. It is also part of, road which takes you to Vaishno Devi Shrine, Katra. And at this time, large number of pilgrims come and they, go for a pilgrimage on the New Year Eve. So at this time, encounter is a huge security challenge for the security forces, but it appears that security force had prior information about the movement. That's why they intercepted them, and it appears so far that in the brief encounter they may have been killed. We are waiting for the confirmation from the police. As you mentioned yesterday, a major attack was averted in Udhampur. 15 kg IED was recovered by the police and it was defused. Today, Home Minister Amit Shah is holding a meeting, security review meeting on Jammu and Kashmir in Delhi today. So he will be, reviewing the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. This was already planned, and there's also talk of holding election maybe in April. That is just, gossip or the talk that's being said. That could be part of it. There's also issues related, Kashmiri Pandits, transfer from Srinagar to Jammu. Because of the security reasons, all these issues may come up in that meeting. So hours before that meeting, crucial meeting on Jammu and Kashmir in Delhi, there's this encounter, and it appears all the 3 militants have been killed, but we are waiting for confirmation from the police, or media reports suggest they have been killed, and the firing has stopped. But let's wait for the, police confirmation and more information how it happened, whether it was a newly infiltrated group, because we have seen Jammu is actually on terror radar for some time, for almost 1 year now. Since this year, there have been series of incidents in Jammu region, and there have been, efforts pushing militants from international border and also ammunition through drones. And there have been series.
26 जनवरी के मद्देनजर हमने बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी ग्रिड को अलर्ट किया हुआ था, और आज सुबह एक ट्रक की मूवमेंट जो है अनयूजुअल दिखी हमें। यूजुअली यहाँ पे ट्रक की मूवमेंट 12 बजे के बाद होती है, लेकिन ये एक ट्रक था जो यहाँ मूवमेंट कर रहा था। जो हाईवे क्यूआरटी है उसने ये अनयूजुअल मूवमेंट को स्पॉट किया और उसका पीछा किया। जब ये सिदरा नाके पे पहुंचे तो उसको रोका गया और ड्राइवर को नीचे बुलाया गया। ड्राइवर नेचर्स कॉल के बहाने नीचे गया और वहां से भाग खड़ा हुआ, और उसके बाद ट्रक की तलाशी शुरू की गई। ट्रक के अंदर से जब तलाशी हो रही थी तो फायर आया, जिसका जवाब दिया गया। ड्राइवर एब्सकॉन्डिंग है, उसकी तलाश के लिए सभी एसएचओज को, सभी सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस को मैसेज दे दिया गया है। सर्च ऑपरेशंस चल रहे हैं उसको एप्रीहेंड करने के लिए। मज़ीद जानकारी जब तलाश हो जाएगी ट्रक की, उसके बाद
तंजीम के बारे में कुछ पता चल पाया है? नया ग्रुप था सर?
अभी तंजीम के बारे में कुछ कहना मुनासिब नहीं रहेगा। ये तफ्तीश जब आगे बढ़ेगी तभी बताया जा सकता है।
सर, किस तरह का एम्युनिशन इनके पास था, क्योंकि काफी आवाजें, धमाके काफी हुए थे?
काफी एम्युनिशन इन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया है सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पे जो यहाँ पे मौजूद थी, और जिससे लगता है कि काफी बड़ा ग्रुप था और काफी असला एम्युनिशन के साथ आया हुआ था। अभी ट्रक की जब तलाशी होगी तब पूरी जानकारी दी जा सकती है।
सर, कितने बजे लगभग ये ऑपरेशन जो है वो शुरू हुआ?
तकरीबन 7 बजे के आसपास ये ऑपरेशन शुरू हुआ।
शुक्रिया। आप लगातार ये
गाड़ी तो we were generally on a high alert in view of the 26th January coming up. The border grid was strengthened. We were all on alert. All the nakas, all the highway patrols were on alert. Today morning we spotted a suspicious movement of a truck which was unusual at this point of time moving on this road. This was followed and at Sidra Naka it was stopped. The driver came down and wanted to attend nature's call, and while going there he absconded, after which the truck was searched. As soon as the search started, the terrorists hiding inside opened fire at us, which was retaliated. The encounter is now over. We are putting the fire off. We have got the fire tenders here which are on the job. After the fire is put off, we will search the truck and let you know the details.
How many terrorists are expected?
At least 2 to 3 terrorists are there. There could be more. We are not sure.
So
but after the search is over,
with a lot of ammunition?
Yes, they were heavily armed. With the kind of fire they opened on us, it appears that they were very heavily armed.
Any tanzeem, sir?
We are not sure about the terrorist group.
Okay, so they have been neutralized?
Yes, they have been neutralized.
And the driver is absconding?
Driver is absconding.
All right, so that encounter, that fierce gunfight between the terrorists and security forces is now over, as that senior officer was saying. Also, the driver of that truck is now absconding. Let's move on to news of the weather now, and the IMD has predicted that the cold conditions are likely to abate over northwest India from today. So some relief there, Divya.
Right, Gargi, the last 3 days have been the peak as far as the Met Office is saying that, it had been really, really cold. The temperature went down to 5 degrees, the lowest of the season. However, temperatures will be back to 5 degrees, but that's only going to happen over New Year's, the 31st of December and the 1st of January is when the temperature will be back to 5 degrees. So some respite in the meantime, and of course fog conditions will also start to improve as far as the intensity and the spread is concerned. However, fog conditions will continue all the way to the weekend that we're expecting here. Let's take into account as far as cold wave conditions are concerned, they will continue in Rajasthan. As far as the plains are concerned, it's Churu which has recorded the lowest temperature at 0.5 degrees Celsius, and cold day conditions prevailing in the western part of Uttar Pradesh. When we talk about the fog conditions, those continue over the plains of the northwest, basically Punjab, Haryana, as well as parts of Rajasthan, along with the northeastern part, Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura included. And we also have Odisha where fog conditions are prevailing.
That's right. Our colleague Parimal spoke to Mr. Janamani of the IMD. Let's listen in.
इस वक्त हमारे साथ डॉक्टर R.K. जनामनी हैं जो मौसम विभाग के सीनियर साइंटिस्ट हैं। सर, ये स्थिति कब तक रहने वाली है जो कोल्ड वेव की स्थिति है या फॉग को लेकर की स्थिति?
नहीं, देखिए, जो पिछले 3 दिन है वो पीक था, जो तापमान मैंने बताया, जैसे हमारा चुरू है और उसकी सिक्कर है, ये 0 से 2 डिग्री जो चल रहा है पिछले 3 डिग्री से, लेकिन इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा आज और कल रहेगा, और 29 ऑनवर्ड बहुत ही ज्यादा इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा, क्योंकि जो WD आ रहा है पहाड़ी इलाका में स्नोफॉल भी प्रेडिक्शन दे रहे हैं। इस सीजन का पहला स्नो स्पेल ऑन 29 दिसंबर ओवर जम्मू कश्मीर यानी हिमाचल प्रदेश, और हो सकता है क्लाउड भी पंजाब और नॉर्थ हरियाणा में नजर आएगा, इसलिए काफी इंप्रूवमेंट होगा 29 को। ये जो चला है काफी लंबा चला है, 19 दिसंबर से 28 दिसंबर मानिए कि ऑलमोस्ट
वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं था उसमें,
इसीलिए बिकॉज वेस्टर्न डिस्टर्बेंस जब आता है ना, हवा होता है, बाउंड्री लेयर जो है मिक्सिंग होता है, तो आपने देखा होगा कि जब क्लाउड नजर आता है दिल्ली में, ठंड बहुत कम हो जाता है, दिन का तापमान भी बढ़ता है, रात का तापमान जैसे अभी 4 डिग्री 5 डिग्री चल रहा है पिछले 4 दिन से, तो वो इम्प्रूव होकर 8-9 डिग्री हो जाता है। बट इस साल ऐसे ट्रेंड नहीं है, एक बार सेटल हो गया डेंस फॉग, कोल्ड वेव, कोल्ड डे लंबा टाइम रहता है क्योंकि WD नहीं है।
सर दुर्घटना बहुत ज्यादा होती है फॉग के मौसम में, वही हम समझना चाह रहे हैं कि अगर हम लोगों को बताएं जो घर से बाहर निकलते हैं, तो ये आशंका कब तक रह सकती है दिल्ली आसपास के इलाके या जो उत्तरी भारत में आप कह सकते हैं डेंस फॉग को?
देखिए दिल्ली का जो पंजाब हरियाणा और इवन पश्चिम मध्य प्रदेश, पर्टिकुलरली आज का जो मॉर्निंग और कल का जो नाइट, मैं ये बोलना चाहता हूँ दिल्ली के स्पेसिफिकली रात का 7 PM मतलब शाम से फॉग शुरू हो गया था, बिलो 1000 मीटर विजिबिलिटी, और आज 12-1 बजे तक चला, बहुत लंबा स्पेल है। और इवन कैट 3 डेंस फॉग, अगर एयरपोर्ट का इम्पैक्ट बात करें, वहां भी रात का 3 बजे से अराउंड 8 o'clock था, तो इसमें बहुत दिखाई नहीं देता है, ठीक है ना। अभी जो मेन एडवाइजरी हमारा जो रेड कलर जाता है, इन्हीं के लिए जाता है कि अगर हाईवे में कोई गाड़ी चला रहा है या कहीं भी कोई ऑपरेशन है, जैसे रेलवे का चल रहा है, एविएशन का चल रहा है, तो सारा एयरपोर्ट जैसे अमृतसर, चंडीगढ़, दिल्ली, लखनऊ, वाराणसी, ये सब प्रभावित है लास्ट 10 डेज से, ठीक है ना। लेकिन इसका सब इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा 28-29 को, क्योंकि एक WD आ रहा है।
मतलब कुल मिला के फॉग अभी रहेगा, कोहरा रहेगा, 28-29 दिसंबर से थोड़ा सा
इम्प्रूव होगा। हाँ, 28-29 को कोहरा का होगा, तापमान का भी होगा, तापमान जो पूरा रख रहा है, मतलब अगर देखेंगे दिन का तापमान 11-12 डिग्री चल रहा है, जो बरेली है, ठीक है ना, बहुत सारा स्टेशन है जो हिसार है, तो लेकिन इम्प्रूवमेंट नेक्स्ट 48 आवर्स में प्रेडिक्शन है। ओनली रेड कलर आज के लिए हम लोग दिए हैं पंजाब, हरियाणा, वेस्ट यूपी, उत्तरी राजस्थान।
थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू।
In other news, now another incident of an employer abusing their domestic help in the NCR, and in this case caught on camera, a woman is seen dragging and tugging a domestic worker out of an elevator.
Right, Gargi, according to details, this woman, Shefali Kaul, who is a resident of the Clio County Society in Noida, had hired a 20-year-old girl named Anita as her domestic help. The domestic help has been facing abuse at the employer's house, and whenever she tried to return to her own house, she was assaulted by the woman. To get more details, we have our colleague Priyanshi joining us.
Right, Priyanshi, so a complaint has now been filed. Give us the details.
Well, Gargi, this happened in Sector 120 of Noida in the Clio County Society, and there was a woman named Shefali who beat her up 20-year-old domestic help named Anita, and in those visuals we can see how horrific that is, that the woman, the domestic help is really trying to stay inside the elevator and not go out, but the owner of that house, Shefali, is practically pushing her out of the elevator, and we can see that the domestic help is restraining and trying to stay inside the elevator. But while she tries to do that, the house owner beats her up and pushes her out of the elevator. Now, what the information that we have till now says that Anita wanted to not work at her place because she was facing physical abuse and she was being assaulted at Shefali's place. But Shefali was forcing her to continue working at her place. So that's why in those visuals you can see that Anita, the 20-year-old domestic help, is trying to escape and she's trying to go away in that elevator. But the house owner Shefali is trying to get her to her house and get her to work. So that's the situation as we know. Now the police has also filed a case in this. The ADGP, the police commissionerate in Noida, said that necessary legal action is being taken. An FIR is also filed based on the information of the victim's father, based on the information given by Anita's father. And this was, so an FIR is being filed, but we know that there's no action taken yet against Shefali, who was seen beating up her house help. But the FIR filed and legal action is being taken. But this is just another case in the list of cases that we're seeing recently of abuse and physical assault on people who work in societies and people who work in such housing complexes. Earlier on, we also saw that a watchman was beaten up. There was also a delivery person from from a food delivery app who was also beaten up. So these are instances that we're seeing of house owners really beating up the people who are working for them.
Right. Well, let's just listen into what the police have to say on this case. They say a case has been filed, but no action, as Priyanshi is saying, has been taken so far.
थाना फेज 3 में एक वादी पदम सिंह द्वारा बताया गया कि उनकी लड़की जो क्लियो काउंटी सोसाइटी में एक महिला शेफाली कौल के यहाँ एज ए डोमेस्टिक हेल्प काम करती है, उसको शेफाली कौल द्वारा बंधक बनाया गया और मारपीट करी गई। इस संबंध में सूचना प्राप्त होते ही थाना फेज 3 पर मुकदमा लिखा जा चुका है। इस पूरे प्रकरण में जो बाकी एविडेंसेस मिलेंगे उसके अकॉर्डिंग विधिक कार्रवाई पूरे प्रकरण में करी जाएगी।